Please hold while we connect you to the next available agent.
Oh, lucky.
Oh, lucky.
We have to have new music for the intro,
Who sings that song?
which is playing in our minds.
All right, here's what's going on. By the way, we're a little tired, dude. Today we got a little. First of all, we had Italian food before this.
Geo da Silva, do it like a truck.
Can you play a little bit of it?
Of course.
They're not going to take us down, right? They can't take us down. They can never take us down.
Oh, it's adverts. No.
You got to pay for advertisements.
Yeah.
Really,
Okay.
really quickly before you play it. We had Italian food before this.
Yep.
And per usual, after you eat pasta, you start feeling a little tired, and the energy right now has been pretty mellow. So we were like, all right, we need something to just really get us going before we pump out this volley hotline.
That's the first phase of carb loading.
Carbo loading, yes.
That's an old school, man. I don't know. You have this. Sometimes I wake up and I just start to sing one song that I heard 10 years ago.
Dude, what a
last
great
time.
call. Yes.
You have it? Krobas, you have it also?
No, but I
dude,
started to
it's-
sing the same.
I don't understand why. Like, it's somewhere deep in my mind.
Dude, it's not that I have it. It's that I have it almost every day that I wake up with a song in my head. And sometimes it's like maybe a song that's like stuck in my head or a melody I heard the day before that's back. And sometimes, to your point, it's like, why am I thinking of this song I haven't heard in like 10 years, you know? And this
Tell
song
me, how do you
just
stop?
played, dude, is
How do you stop to singing it? Because it's so hard.
But human brain is so weird. Or sometimes even we are practicing, yeah? When we do serving exercise and I serve and I wait for my turn to serve and immediately like this song comes to my mind and I start to sing it. And I'm singing like all the in practice.
Yeah, and this song was in your head?
Yeah.
Is that why you sang it?
I didn't hear it like
Yeah.
for, I don't know, 10 years maybe. It's so old. Like,
Do you guys know the show The Office?
yeah, of course.
What do you guys call it in Poland? The show. There's a name for it.
The same.
The
No,
same,
it's
The
not.
Office.
There's a different
The office
like
is
the-
bureau in Polish, maybe.
Biuro. That's
Biuro.
right. Yeah, it is Biuro. Because when I was renting a house last year in Olsztyn, I was using a Polish Netflix account, and it said Biuro instead of The Office. I couldn't remember it, so thank you. That's the last time I heard that song. That song was playing in an episode where Michael he starts his own paper company or something like that, and in the bottom of the building, he takes the old office that he used to have, and then he eventually gets hired back to the main office. But when he starts Michael Scott Paper Company, he turns it into like a little dance, a place just to come and dance. I don't know if you remember that. Dude, I am such a big Office fan, even though I probably just butchered that. I love that show. Show's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of fan of this
That's
TV
okay.
show, but I think this kind of things that you start to think about some song comes when you are really tired. Like in my opinion, I think, because when I'm really tired, like on the practice, my brain starts to search for an excuses not to think about volleyball. You know,
Interesting.
and immediately it brings me some kind of song that I heard like 10 years ago.
Your
last
brain's
time.
just like, shut the fuck up and listen to this.
Hey, so we need to make some playlist in 1 month. Just try to remember the titles. And
Guys, we are on fire. We are doing we are recording second show in 1 week because your feedback was so nice that we are really we want to keep it going.
We're amped. Do you guys know that one? Amped?
Now we know.
Now you know. That's a good one. What's the other one I said? Oh yeah, janky. For those of you
Janky.
Polish fans who are like, janky means thank you. Or thanks, yeah. Janky is also what you call something that's like kind of broken down but still works. I gave the example of like janky is like if your car keys don't really work, but oh no, they work. You just have to jiggle it a bunch and then press these wires and then eventually the car starts. That's janky. So look at that, dude.
Thank you for explanation, man.
Janky.
Nie ma problema.
We play in next 6 days. We play we spend 5 days outside of Warsaw. Yeah, we go to Wieluń to play Lwów, and we go to Finland. My first time in Finland. You've played in Finland? No, you said about somebody who...
No. In fact, I just said the other day I had my coldest my personal record of coldest day I've ever experienced here in Poland.
Let's check the weather.
And-
Kropas, you were supposed to have the computer here.
God damn it.
And for sure, I have a feeling we're gonna experience our
Man, I checked
coldest day of all time.
Helsinki.
Also, I want to know from you guys, what's the coldest day you've ever experienced?
-5.
Celsius, by the way.
Yeah.
I
The
don't
coldest day? I don't know, around -30. There were like temperatures like this in Poland
Whoa.
during the winter.
Whoa.
Good old days now.
Good old days, -25, something like this.
Whoa.
It used to be.
But we need to be prepared for sure. Expect the unexpected in Finland.
Yeah.
And the polar nights.
Isn't it in Finland is where they like created the sauna, let's say?
Yeah.
Like the experience of
Like
contrast therapy or
the,
something?
The best companies like making the
Or Finnish.
Yeah, are Finnish.
Yeah.
And they have this culture like partying in sauna.
Yeah, right?
I used to live in one, like my roommate when I was playing in Bydgoszcz was the captain of the Finnish team, Antti Siltala. You know how he looks? Maybe we'll put some picture here because he looks like a typical Viking.
Okay.
And
Like you, bro.
oh, he looks more than
Yeah.
me. And what I wanted to say, and he told me like how the parties look like. Like they are meeting in the sauna, drinking vodka, putting vodka on this stones which are on fire. You know,
Oh my
like so
God,
you are
it's
getting
crazy.
more drunk than
They build
ever.
an igloo also, or no?
No, I think
It's-
they were going out of the sauna and running into the frozen lake, like making the hole in the eyes, jumping inside, coming back, and doing another session in sauna, drinking more vodka. Man, for me, it sounded like death.
Yeah, that sounds insane.
Crazy party. And they listen to heavy metal a lot and drinking coffee.
They love heavy.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have like a phase when you were younger where you listened to like some music now that like I remember having like a Metallica, Slayer. Like, did you ever have a heavy metal kind of?
Iron Maiden, man.
Yeah, Iron Maiden.
Bro,
was listening
I
to
loved Rage Against the Machine.
Yes,
Limp
dude.
Bizkit.
Limp
That was
Bizkit
my
also.
last.
Wow, Limp Bizkit.
But I still
Korn.
I still like to like one day to put the old CDs, like not to listen to CDs, like search for their songs in Spotify or whatever, and just to listen to like when I'm traveling with my like by my car, alone especially because then I can sing freely.
Yeah.
Offspring.
Wow.
The
dude.
Americana was my first CD I bought for my own money.
Wow.
Which I got from my own money. I
Wow.
got the pocket money from my parents.
Wow. Oh,
So-
great idea. First CD ever bought, dude. That's
Americana.
Americana. What a great album to buy.
I know I know every song. Like it's my still one of my favorite CDs ever.
Wow.
I remember I bought Nas, the rapper. It was-
Yeah.
There's some Egyptian on the cover. I am or
Look it
something
up.
like
Look it up. We got to get it.
Dobra.
My first ever was David Bowie's. In fact, actually, it was like a David Bowie best of.
Okay.
That was my first CD album I ever bought in Portland, Oregon.
Not actually sounded like David Bowie.
Okay, so now I want to know too. Then, like, who are you listening to right now? Anyone specifically that you're like? You just talked about it. You're driving home from a training. Like, who are you putting on right now?
I can check. Kerala
Great
Dust.
call.
Kerala Dust. You know Kerala Dust?
No.
It's not obvious choice.
No.
It's like a dark mood, kind of like a True Detective. You know this TV show?
Yeah, yeah.
Like an intro from True Detective.
Whoa.
This kind of music, man. Like
Wow.
when I'm driving on the Warsaw streets, I feel like I'm about to solve some case, you know, about the murder or whatever.
Let me ask you. I mean, you guys both got families too. Like, when you get that, let's say 12 minutes of just solitude, like just you and yourself, and you're in the car, and you put some music on. Let's say either going
this is
to
this is what I wanted to say. Like, you asked me what I'm listening to. When I'm going out of my house, where is my kid and my wife and 2 dogs, I'm not putting right away the music in the car. You know, I enjoy the silence while I'm driving and trying to think about my thoughts, like to hear my thoughts during this 12 or 15 minutes in the car. Maybe when I'm coming back, I'm putting some music, but on the way from my home for the practice, I try to calm down a little bit.
Are you pretty like for each? Do you listen to music based on your mood?
Yeah, I think it's based on my mood, but but apparently like very often it's this one song or one CD, one album that I like to listen like in that period of time. Like, and I'm doing it like all the time on repeat. One song, 2 songs, 3 songs, or maybe all the CD, all the album if it's really good. But yeah, and after 1 month, okay, and let's go to another one.
Yeah, I'm interested to know. Like, I know for myself when it comes to music, I hear there's maybe one song that for whatever reason speaks to me, and I play that song like until it is dead, literally until I'm like, okay, I just that inner beat inside me that's like, all right, we're done with this. It just knows we're done. Then I change to something else. But I feel like other than I listen to music based on my mood, like if I'm just like, you know, feeling sultry or sad kind of after a training, like I'll listen to something chill and just allow myself to like freely think. But if I'm trying to get hyped up or whatever, but in general, if I hear one song that I'm like, oh, this is the song for me, I play it literally. If the drive is 10 or 15 minutes, I play it from start, and then the second it ends, I repeat until I've had enough of it.
So what was the song for today?
Oh God, actually the song that I've been putting on repeat is a Little Dicky song. I don't know if you guys know who Little Dicky is, but he put out his new album recently, and he's got a song called Honestly, and the way the song starts out, it just like reminds me of just like waking up, just feeling good, waking up. Is this
guy from the Netflix show? That was some show about him.
He has a show called Dave. That
was
not
so
Netflix.
Stupid, man.
Yeah, see, it's not for everyone. Maybe I think it's fantastic. Okay. The writing for me is like incredible.
Are you listening to Polish music while are you here or no? Or just in the locker room?
Yo, great question. Actually, just in the locker room. But this song "Cake" by Jarma Kiza. Okay. Yo, this song is sick. I love it so much.
Did you try to check the lyrics? Like, what is she singing about or rapping?
That I've heard. I know.
No, but did you check the meaning like of the lyrics?
You're going crazy.
You have to check. Like, it's
yeah. I'm sure it's
crazy.
It's a song about teaching kids how to respect women.
Yeah,
show love,
show
respect.
Love. Yeah.
Keep our planet clean.
Very wholesome. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you, like, because I do think it's really interesting, like having that time from going to training and coming home from training. Like you're in the car. Let's say you're listening to that song that's kind of like very moody.
Yeah.
And what do you think about? Like, either way, you're going to training or you're coming back from training. Is there anything that like you find yourself? Are you a deep thinker? Like, dude, I have insanely deep thoughts in my mind that I'm like processing it as I drive home sometimes.
You know, sometimes like, because this also is the thing which surprises my wife very often. Like sometimes I'm like really tired and trying not to think about anything. Just I'm like, I don't know,
meditative a little bit.
I will call this like my brain is empty, you know. And she's like, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, nothing. No, and she's like, no, it's impossible. You have to think about something. You don't want to tell me. I'm like, come on. I was like, I'm really tired. Like, let's not go into this direction. And really, like, sometimes I just catch myself on this thought that I was like, I don't remember what I was thinking like for the last 10 minutes because it was like nothing. I was just cleaning my mind.
We call it zoning out.
Zoning out.
Yeah.
And yeah, but very often I use this time in my car. I use it as an office, so I try to do all the phone calls I try not to do at home while I'm with my family. So I just go into the car, and when somebody's calling me when I'm home and I know that this is not really urgent, I just write, okay, I will call you on my way to practice.
You just go straight into the car in the garage.
No. I just write text message. I will call you while I'm driving for the practice, and it can be in 3 hours or 4 hours. But then I try to call everyone that tried to reach me during the day, and this is my like office time. So I'm not listening a lot to the music in my car.
My deepest thoughts are always like what I'm gonna eat after, like tonight.
After practice,
that's the most important thing.
Are you still hungry today or what?
I always think about food.
Isn't it crazy how much we think about food? It is really crazy, actually. I noticed that when I just fasted I've had some like kind of issues with my stomach, and I'm going to get it tested. So I'll keep you guys updated. It's been really bad for the
We
last,
have a lot of questions about your
3
stomach.
weeks. Yeah.
So interesting.
I'm sure you do.
Not at all.
But what was the point of that? What was the point of that? Oh, the point of it was I fasted for 27 hours, and it gave me like a new relationship with food. It made me realize how often we're thinking about, as athletes specifically, like the next meal. And if you're really trying to like optimize your recovery, you should be trying to get, the nutritionists, the volley nutritionists say you should get, 30 to 40 grams of protein every 2.5 to 3 hours, or like spread your meals. So it's like there's like breakfast, and then there's lunch, and then there's like maybe snack during training, something after training, dinner. Like there's just constantly something to think about when it comes to food. And it was so interesting to fast and be like, I'm literally trying to do the opposite. First of all, trying not to think about food, but just how different. It made me realize how much we're thinking about.
And I'm only thinking like, what would I love to eat right now? Not what it should be, or like when, or how much. Like I just think especially after really good practice or a good game, then what I would love to eat after, like to
And
have
usually
like
it's pizza.
like an award for me, or like for myself. And usually these are like 3 or 4 meals.
What's your reward? What's your reward meal?
Oh man, like
a good
recently,
game you played so good.
Recently, my wife makes like such a good feta cheese, like from the oven, like cooked feta cheese with potatoes, with some herbs, with garlic, like a lot of garlic, and some pita bread, also with some herbs. And this is like I can eat whole feta cheese like this from the oven, like hot style, let's say.
God.
And it's so good.
Does it have
and
enough
it's really
proteins,
easy.
man?
Really, I don't know. I don't care. It's like after the game, so I really don't care. And you have this like a reward meal after.
Dude, to be honest with you, I'm like trying my best to renew my relationship with food.
Oh.
Because I've had this, let's say, reward, but it's tricky. It's incredible how much your brain can rationalize what's worth a reward, right? It's like after games, there's usually like, all right, fuck it, after a game, I'm going to have that beer. I'm going to have the pizza. I'm going to like indulge in whatever I want, But then it's like, I had a bad practice. I just need a little something. Like I'm just going to, it's just like for me, my personality, it's like I'll quickly begin to rationalize bad habits, let's say. And I don't think having pizza or drinking a beer is a bad habit necessarily. Everything in moderation, surely. But I'm trying like right now to change my view of food. And this is where like having an injury or having something that affects your body, especially as you get older, you start to be like, yeah, why have I mindlessly just been doing whatever I want? Maybe I should reconsider my view of food. And in doing so, I've noticed and become more aware of how certain foods make me feel. And now I'm trying to, before it's like, we have pasta before this and my stomach's kind of not great. And it's like, I try not to think about it. And you can numb that feeling, or you can recognize, oh, I just ate some like whole foods and like rice with meat or chicken or sweet potatoes or fresh vegetables or whatever, or fruit, and feel like really good. And I think now I'm like trying to keep tally of like, oh, I had that and this is how it made me feel. Where for years it was just like, oh, I got to just get my 30 grams of protein and I just got to get to the next meal. And like, I don't really care. I eat pretty healthy. And so I'm like kind of excited to see what more I can continue to discover in like listening better to my own body,
You can guys write us in the comments your like reward meals. What are you eating after like a good practice or
drinking?
Or
yeah,
Let's
or
go.
drinking, like after winning a game that you already won. Like, what is your reward meal? It could be really interesting to
I would
read
love
about
to know.
it.
Yeah, what people like.
Is it always some fast food, junky food?
Yeah, it has to be something gluttonous. A brick of sugar.
Yeah, and subscribe, of course. I wanted to come back to the topic of music, because I had one more question and you changed the topic for food. Did you have, or maybe you had before, like one song that you were listening to like just before the game, like the last song you are like, you hear this song and now you're ready for the game?
Yeah.
And what was it?
It's called New Level by ASAP Ferg.
You put it on the bus.
I put it on the bus. Yeah. That song is just like, I remember specifically my first year ever playing professionally in Italy. I had a teammate named Brian Cook, another American guy, and he introduced that song to me. And it was just like you know, when you have another American and you go somewhere halfway across the world to play professionally volleyball, it's like you oftentimes bond in a different way. And he happened to be like a childhood best friend too, so that was amazing.
So this song is with you since then, like since this first season?
Yeah. So now I hear that song and it just reminds me of the younger version of me that was like us in the locker room, just like so hyping each other up. And now it's like I, you know, put it on for everyone to hear, or often it's like if I really need it, it's there.
So without this song, you're not going on the game.
No, I'm a professional.
You
Ajay,
always,
I'm a professional.
you keep this song with you because.
Yeah.
I used to have this ritual, like I had, let's say 10 or 12 minutes when I was living in Bydgoszcz I don't know, 10 years ago, probably. I was listening to like 3 songs and the last one was Bleed It Out by Linkin Park, like live from one concert. They were singing with Jay-Z and it's like 8 minutes long. And it was like finishing almost exactly in the moment I was parking, you know, under the sports hall
perfectly
before the
timed,
game. Like, yeah, because it was like this.
Yeah.
And I had this feeling like I think I was the prisoner of the rituals that time. I was thinking like I have to put certain shoe before, like first, of course, the left one, after the right one, and listening to the same music to play good, you know, to win the game. And it was like easier for me. And I was, when something was not going in the same way, I was a little bit scared and not feeling comfortable. And after like one season, I completely, I don't know, I changed the way I was thinking about it, and I stopped to listening to the same music. I stopped to do all these things the same. I was just, my attitude was like, I have everything in my hands. Like, not any music has no influence on this how I will perform.
At this
like
stoic guy over here.
Yeah, like I completely changed my mind about this topic. But I used to listen to the same songs like before, and I was really like thinking about it before that I have to listen to this music, because if not, for sure I will play shitty game and we will lose.
Krupis, are you a big ritual guy?
No, not at all.
No.
I just try to enjoy my time on the court, and that's the most important thing. Just to have fun and play ball, like in the good old days when we were like a few years old.
See, that's so funny. I feel like I wouldn't say I'm, we call it like superstitious. If the thing is not there, or, you know, then you.
Yeah.
But I will say that when you're playing good, oftentimes I try to keep a similar environment, you know? So it's like if I'm meditating and doing some visualization and it worked really well, I try to repeat it. And I try to repeat maybe the same music if it got me in the zone, or shoes. Like if I did really well with these shoes, I like to keep them. But maybe that's, I don't know. That's my own.
But this kind of rituals are not dangerous. You know which kind of rituals are dangerous, in my opinion? Like wearing the same pants like for every game. Like you have your lucky, not washing them, like, but still, like you have, I don't know. You played imagine playing your first game in your first pro season, and you have still the same pants, like underwear that you played.
That's hilarious. You know what? I have.
No, don't tell
you're
me.
lying.
I swear to God.
No.
Dude, have you seen, I only have one pair of blue, like a brighter blue Lululemon underwear, and they have a hole in the side.
Maybe this will surprise you, but I'm not putting so much attention to what
you know what, that does surprise me. It does. It surprises me how we can be completely naked in the locker room and you just maintain eye contact with me. You know, you are very stoic, as you said.
Yeah.
By the way, let's get into some questions. We could talk about this forever, just anything in general.
20 minutes intro and people are like, let's go to some questions.
Let us know too if you like us just bantering and talking back and forth, and you guys enjoy this part, because this is our
and what topics a part of volleyball we should speak in our intro.
Yeah, before we start, then we should say that, because you know we did the second episode and we had dinner tonight, and we were talking about how much we love volleyball and love what we're creating here and building the community, and love that you guys are participating, and that this is something I really think is really beautiful. And how we also don't want it to always be about volleyball, you know? So I guess that's more of like a PSA also for people who have questions. It doesn't have to be everything volleyball related. You're a volleyball athlete, anything question or advice you would want from an older experienced person in our field.
Yeah, because our life is full of volleyball, and sometimes we really like to speak like outside the practice. We like to speak about something else than
everything
than volleyball.
affects in some way. It's all related, you know. It's like volleyball is just something we do and we love and we're very knowledgeable in, but all the other things, being a dad, being alone overseas, like there's so many other things that are surrounded in the umbrella of volleyball that are about being a human being as well. That things we enjoy talking about, like we just did, I guess. But
we also enjoy answering your questions and
that's right.
Trying to connect you with some pro stars of volleyball. Maybe not today.
We tried, you guys.
Yeah, this was just the first and last time with Bruno, and now nobody is answering our phones. So let's go to the first question, which is asked by Mateusz Rudowski.
Hello Taylor, hi Andrzej, my name is Mateusz, I'm 18 years old and I come from Poland. I've been playing volleyball for over 8 years and now I play as a winger in the Polish second league in my
Wait a minute,
team.
let's pause here.
Winger?
He's playing as a winger.
Winger.
Is it only in our country people call outside hitters wingers?
Yes, can I ask you, actually this is the first time I've ever heard anyone talk about, we call them pin hitters or just outsides or opposites, but it's the first time I've ever heard someone say wingers. Is there like a translation in Polish that means winger?
Yeah. It's exactly like from this, like skrzydłowy, it's from skrzydło, so wing is skrzydło. So you play on the wing, you are a winger.
Dude, I'll tell you what, our coach here says wingers, and it was the first time I heard it, and the first time he said it, I started laughing. I just could not control the fact that it just sounded so funny. It's such a funny word, dude, winger. I don't know. The way you pronounce it, too, it's like, it makes me
So what's the most correct way to say?
I would say pin hitter.
Pin hitter.
Yeah.
Because pin is this...
Pin is the antenna, we also
antenna.
call it. Yeah. What do you guys call it?
Antenna.
Yeah, okay.
But I have never heard pin hitter. Like
Me neither.
Okay.
Like winger is so normal for me.
What do you guys...
outside hitter, I think is the most natural for me, like outside hitter.
Yeah. But again,
outside hitter is only from
right, so we're
4.
trying to group both sides together in one word. And winger is one way to do it, apparently.
Yeah.
You have both wings, man.
Opposite and outside hitter.
On the wings, maybe that
They
works.
play on the wings.
They
That's
do.
beautiful.
I agree. I actually think we should bring winger.
Fly on the wings of volleyball.
We should bring winger to the States, dude. Let's make it big
Tell
in
me,
the States.
did you
I love
understand last time on tactics when coach said this guy play hook?
that. Hook.
I saw you laughing
Hook is
so
good one.
much.
I was laughing. They call we call it in the States we call it a push. And
Push.
this is the symbol for it.
So chi.
Yeah, chi, which is Italian.
Italian.
Yes, chi, double chi, push, double push.
Okay.
And
I was like,
our coach
hook.
called it hook. And you know who else did was Maciek, our second setter. And when he was playing the last couple games, he's like, hey, hook in transition, hook. And it was the first time I heard it, and I started laughing. I was like, hook?
This is so normal.
What
here.
the hook?
Dude, so good. Oh
Captain
my-
Hook.
Captain Hook, dude. I love it.
Okay, let's come back to the question.
Junior team, so I have a problem with my serving during matches that has been going on for over 4 months now. Statistics show that 1 out of 3 of my serves is a mistake. I'm type of perfectionist, so I like to have everything under control. And I'm very interested in the mental side of the game. And I read a lot and learn how to improve my mental game. In other parts of the game, I've learned how to trust my skills and don't overthink them, but in serve, I can't find that trust. Very often when I serve, I try to control my arm swing, approach, toss, and that's why it doesn't come out naturally and smoothly like in training. So I have a few questions for you. What can I do to calm my thoughts, relax, and just go with the flow to improve my serving? Maybe during your career you had such a problem and solve it. And what do you focus on during service? That's all from me. Thanks, and I hope I will have more questions in the future. Bye.
I love that he like basically answered his own question too. He's
Yeah,
like,
I love the way he dives into the topic, like with
Yeah.
the statistics, with the
it's so cute.
yeah.
Like when I hear this kid, I just think of like, first of all, I'm sure we're all going to relate to this so much. All volleyball players listening to this are going to relate to this so much, but just how much he's holding on to, like, I want to be so good at serving. Like I'm looking at the statistics. Like I feel like all my other skills are great. I feel confident in them, but like with serving,
And there are some games that I would love to have the statistics, like one of the free serves is mistake,
yeah, for
but
real.
the other two are good serves. No, I think I would love to begin from the thing that I don't know if you guys have the same, but when I was young, when I was like the youth volleyball player starting my adventure with volleyball, I was not thinking at all about like tossing the ball for the serve. Like it was just happening. Like and
Automatic.
for the many years it was like automatic. I never thought about it. It was just going with the flow. And I remember this one game when I tossed the ball like so shit in front that I barely catch it. Like I barely hit it. Like it almost fell down on the floor, you know? Like in one moment. And my mind at that time, like some part of my mind focused on the service, on the toss, like it ruined and smashed into pieces. And since that day, like this one toss, I started to think about it and analyze and think about, okay, I have to toss good the ball right now. And I'm not serving jump service, I'm serving float. So
This
maybe,
was a float serve you're talking
yeah,
about?
like I'm serving float and okay, I try to toss high the ball, but still it's a float service. And maybe like it's funny because people will think that it's the easiest serve to make. But what I'm trying to say, that if in your mind you start to have doubts about your abilities of tossing the ball good, it will like go behind. It will be behind your back all the time. Like you will think about it all the time. And since that time, actually, I'm struggling with the serve because I used to not think about it. I was just going and it was okay, and I was like even scoring some points and making difficulties for the opponents. But since that one moment, like everything ruined, and now for many years I think a lot about it. I try to improve. I think about before every serve to toss good the ball. And maybe it's nothing like strange and everybody thinks about it, but I used to not think about it and it was so easy to make. And right now it's really difficult, and more difficult when you are stressed during the game. And
So you feel this way right now also?
yeah, I think I struggle with this till this moment. Like I don't feel so confident in serve. Okay, when I start the game good, after it's much easier. But when I like toss first ball bad, and it's really often, then I have to why are you laughing?
Because it was funny.
then I'm trying to be honest with you, and you know it's a therapy for me, and you are laughing. I will not say nothing more.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I think everybody is struggling with maybe not the way I'm struggling. I'm curious how you think about the service and prepare to the service, or because for me, like tossing on the practice and serving on the practice is easy because there is no pressure, and I think about it, but it's more easy to make. And after on the game, like there is a little bit pressure to serve good, like more pressure, and then I have some problems. But I'm really happy that for last period, I think I'm doing the way I want to, and I'm dealing good with this problem in my mind. So yeah.
So
this was Andrzej's struggle for
Bravo, Andrzej.
Bravo, Andrzej.
Yeah.
We have it somewhere here.
Give yourself something nice.
Okay,
dude.
let's do this one.
Oh,
This
that's
was-
after the service.
Yeah.
We'll get better at the buttons. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
worry. I'll tell you what, dude. I mean, I have 1,000 things I want to say because I, like you, I'll tell you just my own journey with serving in general. Like most of us, I started float serving when I was young. And then I started jump serving. And when you're young and jump serving, missing your serve is like, I think, much more acceptable because you're learning a new skill. And while oftentimes when you're that young, you still want to make them, you're just, at least for me, like I'm just trying to give like an honest review. When I was young, it was just like, I just want to bury the ball. Like, I'm just trying to hit it as hard as I can. I don't care if I miss it. Like, you just don't care as much. And then you go to college, or at least the American route, like you go play in a university, and then there's a little more pressure. And then you go play professionally, and then there's a lot more pressure. And then you're on the national team and you're playing on a huge stage and there's more pressure. So the pressure never stops. And what's so interesting is, like, it doesn't matter if you're 16 or you're 30. It's the only skill where it's just you. You toss the ball, you contact the ball, you're all by yourself. The whistle blows. Maybe it's a huge crowd and it's loud, or maybe you're in a gym with 10 people and it's completely silent and it's just you in your own fucking mind. And so I don't know. I think it's so interesting that even now, like, for myself, the point I was trying to make is, like, as I evolved as a server, I started realizing, like, I am a server who misses too much. And it was so funny to hear him talk about statistics. Like, this kid should not be thinking about statistics right now.
But actually, this statistic is pretty good that he said, like, one.
No, it's not.
No, you have to make aces.
And if you are doing 2 aces and 1 mistake,
he didn't say
it's
that.
Great statistic.
But he didn't say that.
Missing, yeah, exactly. He said he's missing technically 33%. So he's attacking at he's serving in at 66%. I don't know. I would love to know what you guys think. I know for jump serves, it's, from what I've heard, it's like your goal is 80% in, and for float serves, it's 90% in. That's the statistic that, like, is the gold standard of, like, what you're trying to get to, let's say, to set a goal. But I'll tell you what, none of that matters, because serving is the ultimate challenge of how do you handle emotions in the moment. How attached to the outcome of what you're doing are you really? And so to me, it's like, it's been the thing I've struggled with the most in my career, because especially as an undersized middle blocker, my main thing is attacking. I'm an attacking middle blocker. I'm also a middle blocker who's fast and touches balls, but I'm not like in your face commit block. So having a good serve is so important for me to also separate myself from the 7 foot, 2 meter 10 guys who are just huge. And like I said, I was a jump server, but I was missing a lot of balls. And I was never, like, my best jump serve was not so fast that it was, like, super dangerous. So I was probably better to just float serve the ball, but my ego would not allow me to just float serve the ball. Sorry, Andrzej.
I'm okay with that.
And I just recently learned this 5-step hybrid serve that, like, I love now, but I still was missing too much the last 2 years in Olsztyn on the national. I'm just missing a little bit too much. And I just switched from 5 to 5 and it's changed my life. But I will say,
this is interesting. Why you've changed? Like, you were trying different options to make, or somebody told you so?
Actually, our coach was like, why don't you try serving from 5, because your natural, let's say, error is like wrist away. And I always thought about changing to 5, but I was so comfortable in 1. And when you're here and you're playing a game every 3 days, it's like, where do you find time to make such a big adjustment?
Don't you feel like we as a middles should serve from 5 because it's so close to defense? You just make 1 step and you're here. You don't need to run.
That's so funny that someone said that to me when I switched. Was it you?
Yeah, because I'm a smart guy, man.
let's make volleyball easier.
Dude, I was like, why would I ever think about like, that's something I would never think about. I thought it was so funny.
Just 1 step and you're good.
That's so funny, dude. You old lazy man, dude.
He said already he's offensive middle blocker. He's not a defensive. So why he should care about defense?
That's right.
You need to help your team.
Also, I should be playing defense in 6 so I can hit that pipe. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
No, but okay, to really give this guy some advice, I would say can be easier said than done, but start practicing, focusing on the process of what you're doing and not the outcome. That is one of the hardest things to do. But if you can learn to not be so attached to the serve was in, the serve was out, and be more attached to how did that feel, what's the correction, what's the process, what's the routine, you will see dramatic differences in your serve. The problem is our ego is so strong and we want to be good so bad because we want to be loved so bad and we want our teammates to respect and trust us, that it's very hard to do.
Yeah, I think you should think also, I'm speaking to Mateusz, you should think also about what is the hardest part of serving, like which you think you can improve the most, like, because you can separate, like, I don't know, concentration, like focus before, then visualizing maybe the service before. or the toss, or like hitting the ball in the correct way or the correct angle, or I don't know, spinning the ball or the force, and what is the like what are you missing the most, and then separate this element and practice it like individually. Because if it's focus, like let's try to make some exercises for focus. I don't know, start to meditate maybe, or start to think, like deal with your thoughts in some other environment than volleyball court. Maybe, I don't know, go to the specialist and speak about your like focus problems. If it's about the focus, if it's about the toss, just get the basket of the ball and just toss the balls. Like,
I agree.
Just repetitions.
Check the good parabola and just toss the balls.
Be
like,
proactive about it.
Yeah. You can even take, like we were doing like last season with you, I think, with you, Kropas, that I was standing, like take your friend to stay like in front of you before the game, like in the place on the court where you think it could be great to fall down if you don't hit it after toss. So find this spot, put your friend there, and just toss, I don't know, 20 balls to him or to her, and to make this warm up just for tossing, like without jumping and serving. If it's about the toss, then if you have the toss, I don't know, if you have to like spin or hit the ball correctly, just go to the wall and toss lower and hit the ball correctly, like the place where you want, like aim one part of on the wall and try to hit it with just your hand.
I love that so much, and it really makes me think about, there's two components. There's the physical and there's the psychological, and be proactive in both. So when is the time to be proactive, let's say physically? Definitely in practice on your own. You can draw tape. I mean, I have so many kids who are like, I don't have access to a gym. What's the hardest part in serving? Yeah. Consistently tossing the ball where you want it.
Yeah,
I would say that's the hardest part.
I have the impression that when I toss the ball and when I realize it's a good toss, then my mind is like going, like I can turn off my mind and I just go serve, and I know it will be good serve. But it's like the tossing moment and like watching the ball, if it's tossed good, is the most important thing. And after, it just goes like automatically. And
you just said it, when the toss is there, it's like your mind is empty and you're able to just see the target and hit it. Well, how to get there? The how to get there is take the time to practice the skill of tossing the ball consistently over and over again. Draw a line in your, if you have, I don't know, in the street, if you have a little yard, like draw a line.
Be sure that there are no cars driving on this street.
Yes, block all the cars. Do all the, have one of those little, do you guys have those little turtles that says like kids are playing? Like,
but guys, I feel like we also speak about pressure, you know, because it's the huge component of serving.
And this was,
and that's for me, like the best solution is to put some pressure on you during the practice. Imagine that the score is 23-23 at the end of the set. Like, make some bet with other guys, like who will serve better in these situations, and just forget about the game. Game is to enjoy and have fun and just care less and focus on your practice and do your job before the game, and then just go and enjoy on the court.
Yeah, like set the goals for yourself. Like try to, I don't know, serve 10 times without a mistake at the beginning. After, like, increase the power and do the same, like increase the power after another round, and I don't know, and you say to yourself that if you do mistake, like you do 10 push-ups, if you do 2 mistakes, you do 20. Like, this is also some kind of pressure. And after when you do these push-ups, you will be more tired, which can happen during the game, because we also serve in 5th set, and you can serve your last serve like in
11
score,
p.m.
like 14-13 in tiebreak. Like, it doesn't matter what hour it is. And after like 4 sets of playing volleyball, and you can be more tired, and it's more difficult, and it's more difficult to focus. So be consistent, and also be good in serving in the last part of practice, because this is also very important. Like, in the end, when you really want to go home because you are tired, then is a really good moment to practice your service, because then it will be easier on the game when you serve.
And I know we said there's the physical and there's the psychological part. I would actually argue that the psychological part is more important than the physical part, if I had to choose one. And here's why. Is like,
I think the same.
This is why I am such a big fan in visualization before practice, before a game. And to me, it's about making peace and seeing exactly how you want to see it. Because to your point, Kropas, like in the game, there's do not have to think about, okay, I'm going to toss it a little bit here, or okay, now I'm going to try to, like, it should just be, I have the idea of who I want to serve, what type of serve I want to do, and then you toss the ball, and then you've trained yourself well enough to adjust, but your mentality every single time. And he asked about routines. And so like, I'll say my routine is like, they toss me the ball. I have my physical routine of what I do. I say a few things in Serbian because that's just how I was trained. And I say, idemo bebo. And every single time.
No, you are joking right now, or you say...
I'm completely serious.
You are speaking to yourself in Serbian.
I say idemo bebo. When I was in college, I had a Serbian coach, and he was like the godfather for me. And it's like my way of paying tribute to like... Anyways, it stuck with me. Yeah, it is really cute. But oftentimes, like
I will think about it every time I see you serving. Right,
say it. Look, I say it out loud.
Do you have a tattoo, idemo bebo? You should. You should have it like on your wrist, like before, because you like you hold the ball and then you will see the idemo bebo.
I just got a tattoo on my for me to see. It has nothing to do with volleyball. But I was going to talk about tattoos. We'll save that for a different time. Okay. Anyways, I really think that having some routine and practicing that routine, physically practicing it, psychologically, because when you're in a game, to me, it's like you need to just be a killer, you know, and you need to have already trained the ability to adjust in real time.
But do you think the routine is more for like going into the mood, like the zone to focus, or not to think about making mistake? Because what I think like about when I'm thinking about service, like did you have before, or maybe you still have, like the moments where you go on the serve and you think about it like, oh, I shouldn't do mistake right now, or I hope I don't do mistake
all the time,
or like or maybe even about serving under the net or doing some stupid mistake like before? Because I had this, I still sometimes have, like I go on the serve and then this thought comes to my mind, like what if if I'm trying to serve short, what if I serve under the net? And this is like before service, and then you have to go to serve and it's like, okay, now the pressure is bigger. Like dude, I keep thinking about it.
Can I be honest? So I do a meditation, breath work, and visualization before every game. I've done it since I started playing professionally and a little bit in college. I started visualizing myself, like that part of my brain that was like, you're gonna blow it, you're gonna fuck it up. Like I started visualizing myself serving under the net so much that eventually I said, okay, let's serve. I listened to do you know a guy named Tim Ferriss? Mm-hmm. He's like a human optimization guy or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he has something called fear setting, which is where you write down your fears and anyways, you learn to make peace with them. And so I started visualizing myself every single time I'd visualize my serve. I'd always that thought would come up of like, if it goes under the net. And so I'd visualize my response to it. I'd say, okay, you serve under the net. Okay. And then I started realizing, well,
what happened?
I serve under the net. I'm going to feel super embarrassed. But now I'm also like, that's also hilarious content that I can post that I think will be funny. It's also like,
let's serve under the net.
1 point. And then it's also the game ends and maybe it ends dramatically and the guy hits it out. Like that's what people remember. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, months later, no one's going to remember. And it made me feel like, okay, so it's okay to make like a horrific mistake.
This is the same kind of mistake if you serve like this much, like 120 kilometers per hour, like close to the line, but still out. And
no, it's not the same.
It's the same point. It's the same point.
No, because we need to bring pizza to the locker room, so it's a huge difference. And this is stupid that I sometimes, even when I want to play short, I almost feel the smell of pizza in the air, you know, because I'm so afraid of serving under the net.
That's true.
But there is a referee writing the protocol of the game, and she or he will not write like point for opponent team and by the way he served under the net. No, he's just, or she is writing like 1 point for the opponent team, and doesn't matter, and nobody will remember.
But isn't this funny though? Like, isn't that the thing that's so funny? And the kid basically answered his own question, right? As it's like, oftentimes the solutions are so simple. Who fucking cares if you serve the ball under the net? Who cares? Nobody cares. And yet,
just people will laugh, like for the moment.
How many times in your guys' career have you served the ball under the net? Practice. Okay, let's say in a game. Have you ever served the ball under the net in a game? I have not.
Maybe
I did it in Rzeszów.
Maybe once.
Okay, one time. And you've been playing for how long?
But I also serve flood. It's like
Okay.
different.
But how many times? How long have you played?
17 years.
17
pro.
years. One game you served the ball under the net. And yet, almost every time we go to toss the ball and we know we want to serve short, or you know you want to float serve short, there's that little thing in your mind that's like, hey, what if it goes into the net?
Yeah.
But you
Isn't that
say
incredible?
you say who cares? So if the score is like 24-24 and everyone is watching you, so you still don't care?
No, this was
the
exactly
question,
my
you know?
point. Exactly. My point is, who cares is the big answer, right? The big answer is who cares. The microscope answer is like, oh my God, that would be so embarrassing. My girlfriend's here. I just started dating her. You know, what if she sees this and she's like, this guy sucks. And look at
This
now he
is such a
peed his
big pressure.
pants. You know, it's huge pressure, right? But like when you are able to zoom out of your own narrative and your own story, and you're just seen as a volleyball player, and then you go wider, bigger and bigger and bigger, you realize like, who cares? You know?
Okay, so what is your advice to this kid? Like, what you should think about? Like, okay, make peace, but it's easy to say. You have 8 seconds to serve. You have this ritual. Like, okay, find your ritual to think about the serve, not to think about the mistake. Like, think what you have to do. Like, visualize what you want to do, and then what? Like, choose the player on which you want to serve. Yeah, like visualize the toss. Yeah,
okay, if I had to give one piece of advice to this
Yeah.
kid, I would say make peace with the beast. And here's exactly what I mean. Right now, your biggest problem is that you're so focused on and so attached to the result of what you're doing. Turn that around and get attached to the process of what you're doing. If you serve a ball, for example, and I think about this all the time, and it's super far, way outside the court, what did that feel like? What is the correction? Next ball, let's say you serve it and it's 3 inches or 10 centimeters out of bounds, but it felt really good. That to me is, and I said this to you before, there's good mistakes and there's bad mistakes, and understanding the difference is so important. It's not, people say all the time, an ace is an ace. That's not how I view it. If we're talking about longevity, it's understanding the process, being focused on that. If you read any sort of like the best in the world are all obsessed with the process. And so while it's very hard to do, and as we're all admitting, we still have our own issues with it, yet I to myself have to give myself this advice all the time. It's, Taylor, you're too attached to if this serve goes in or if it doesn't. And just thinking about that in a game or in a practice, you're already down a step. You're already more likely, you're putting yourself in a position to make the error that you already think you're going to. So do your best to, like other skills physically, practice the skill of mentally making peace, visualizing, and allowing yourself to just be and see what comes from that.
Should he or she visualize like the effect of the service? Like,
I mean, if you want to get really deep into visualization, visualize the emotion of serving good.
Yeah, you should like think about
Everything.
how you will feel like after doing an ace.
Absolutely.
Before the serving.
Yeah, or just like, you know, visualize if you want to, I don't know, you're serving from 1 and it's a jump serve and you want to cut it to, let's say, area 2 or something, you know. Visualize what it feels like as the ball make contact with your hand, what that entire motion is like, then visualize the track. Like sometimes I'll literally take a line and in my head, I'll be like, that's what I'm doing. And I'll like, when I have my eyes closed, I'll literally go like this is what it feels like to hit that. And I think there's something to it. The science is definitely there. So do yourself a favor, and it's free. It costs nothing. You can do it from anywhere.
And it's funny because when I'm listening to you and when we speak about this topic, like in my mind, if I don't play volleyball, I would think that I need like 10 minutes before every serve to do all this stuff that we are talking about, like to get into the zone, to visualize, to all of these elements. And then to serve, like, but then you have like 8 seconds, and they are still trying to shorten this period of time between the actions. Yeah, the referees they were putting this clock.
Yeah, that was messed up.
In the corner, and you go and you see the clock, and fuck, I still have some of my preparations to do before the serve. So they are trying to shorten the time for the athletes to prepare for the service, for the only element that we have like 100% of influence in our hands.
Which is why you need to do that before practice starts. When it comes to in practice, to your point of what are some like little nuggets we can take away. When you're in a practice and let's say you're doing a serve and pass, focus on something specific. Focus on, I want to keep the ball on my right shoulder, or focus on, I'm just going to focus and just focus on one thing at a time. Don't get too big picture, but I'm just going to focus on my Serbian coach used to always say like driving the ball, which means you're not just hitting the ball, you're driving all of your energy, finishing into where you want that ball to go. Like just focus on that.
And what if I toss bad? Like okay, let's say the toss is bad. Like I can see it's bad. Should I I go full power still because I go full power when it's good?
Yes, always go full power.
And maybe likely it will go on the other side in somehow, some way, or I should like straight change my mind in these milliseconds for the service and I don't know, go for hybrid, go for float, try to save the ball or still try to go hard.
I think how you respond to that question will show you how attached to what you're doing you really are. Because we all know if the toss is bad, just put the ball in. Have a solution for when the toss is bad. What we see from, I see the biggest difference from young players to the best in the world. The best in the world have no problem just adjusting to, that toss is too far in front, I'm just going to soft float it in.
So I go short, for example. Because I toss behind my back.
Exactly. That's the same with jump serve, float serving too. Like if it's really behind yourself. And the best part is like when you're high level professional is like you've done that so many times that if you taught, like to me, when you see me often like roll a ball short, it's because I tossed it bad and not because I was thinking to serve
the
on
best
someone.
shorts are from the worst toss.
Yeah, right. It's having those solutions. But when you're young, you're just like, I want to work on this thing. I want to work on hitting it hard, and you scratch that. You know?
And you expect this bad toss. Like you expect two kinds of tosses, and you are prepared for both of them. It's like you go for the I don't know classes, and you have some.
And I will say this was the longest explanation.
But we have one more question, and I feel that it's in the topic. So let's hear to Preston, who has also one question attached to service.
Okay.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, Taylor. Thank you for the opportunity to ask the question. It was a great idea to create this kind of podcast. How do you handle noises behind you when you are serving, where the enemy fans are very close to court? Is it possible to disable your hearing? Thank you for the answers. See you on the Krakow in March.
If you're David Smith, it is possible to disable your hearing. But other than that, no, I think that's a really interesting question.
Is David doing like this? Because he can like put it up or down, the volume.
Yeah. That's a good question, dude. We should have asked him. Damn, dude.
I wonder, like, if Zaksa is playing in some loud sport halls, he's putting lowering it down, or
probably he probably can. That's a good question. I don't actually know.
Should it be requested as a anti-doping, like some kind of unfair
anti-doping?
Dude, if I'm being honest, his genetics are anti-doping. That guy eats freaking candy for breakfast and his shred.
Really?
Yeah, he eats whatever. I'm putting him on blast. He eats. Yeah, I mean, he's fine, but he's like famously sweets, has a sweet tooth, loves candy, and he's got all his abs and he's ripped and his genetics are insane, and he's like almost 40 and still playing at such a high level.
His best seasons last few years.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, let me ask you, have you ever had, do you remember like a specific game where it was like so loud? Do you have one example?
I think this is the question which I got most often, like from people who are not doing any sports. Like, do you hear what we are shouting from the audience? Like, do you hear the words? And I say no, I just hear some noise, but it's like I try to keep it away from me. And in this for this question, I wanted to tell one story. Do you remember, Kropas, because you were also there, like Antiga, our coach back in the days, before the game in Radom, when we played in this small sports hall in Radom? Did you play on this sports hall?
Really small, yeah.
There was like really loud every time, and the fans were crazy, like positively crazy, and shouting so loud to cheer for their team. So on the practice before the game, it was important game, some playoff games, that we were or going to playoffs or not going to playoffs. Okay. This was this only game.
Money time.
Yeah. So we had service reception exercise, and he was standing behind us with the speaker and putting the sound of fans of Radom on the speaker.
No way.
Yes.
And did it help?
100% true. We lost.
We lost the game. We won, but
we won
we didn't
3-2, but
qualify.
we needed 3 points to get to the playoffs, and we won 3-2.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, but was first thing which came to my mind when I heard this question. So we were practicing like the loud noises during the practice to be prepared like for the game. And actually, I don't hear. I think it's worst when then it's silent on the sport hall, and one guy will shout you like, "Wrona, do a mistake," or "serve into the net." Then if it's like 10,000 people shouting, doing like this, I don't know, thrombones or whatever, blowing the thrombones, whistling and everything. I prefer this than one guy shouting like, "Hey, you will do a mistake," or serve into the net.
Nothing worse. That's so funny because like I think about when I played in university, there was one place called BYU that always had like, that was famous for the fans being like so close they could touch your jersey when you went back to serve. And they're like, when you're standing at the very edge and they can literally touch you and they would say things, it's like you can't not hear what they're saying. You know, and to your point of like the opposite of that is, I remember also, because in America no one cares about men's volleyball, sadly. I remember playing like at high school or even in college, like gyms that had maybe 100 people in it, and often for serves, like people are just quiet, and then one person would be like, "Dad," or like something, you know, and you couldn't help but like hear it and be like, "Fuck," you know.
That's why the COVID period was so difficult for serving guys, because if you had some like I don't know, fans working on the sport hall during the game, and they were like standing in the corner of the sport hall of the audience, so nobody can see that somebody let them in for the game, and they were like doing the sound like "hoo-hoo." You remember in Suwałki, I think.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what
devastating.
I can say too, dude? I freaking hate the drums. Drums are a big deal out here in Poland, where dun, 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 dun,
You don't like to play in Jastrzębie, huh?
Oh my
They
god,
have full
bro.
orchestra of drums there. But I like it. I really like it.
In general, now, to your point, you made a great point. Like, I think now we're so used to hearing so much noise, it doesn't affect, like, I don't hear anything. I'm so in the zone of what I'm doing. Like, it's just a decibel of noise. It's not like any words my brain can pick up on. But there's something about the drums sometimes where it's so fucking loud that I'm just like,
no, not this one. Drums.
the other one was kind of better. I feel like this drum, dude. Like that, just like times 1,000 right in your ear. Sometimes is like, dude, oh my god, let me like talk a little. Let me get like one little break, you know.
But it also makes me tired when, especially in Zawiercie, there is so loud in this small gym that even if you don't hear anything, and they actually don't disturb you so much, but after 2 hours with warm up, you really want to go home. You just want to leave this place because it's crazy.
But I think in Zawiercie, for me, more disturbing are the colors of the fun, because there is a like their
wall.
colors are like yellow and green, like bright green, and the ball is yellow and dark blue. But when the serve is coming, or like when I have to like see the ball, it's really like it's difficult sometimes to see the ball, and I cannot imagine like if I'm the winger receiver. It should be like really difficult for them to see the ball, especially when, I don't know, guys are serving 120, and on this sports hall there is one guy who is serving like this.
And for those fans listening now thinking, dang, I thought I was making a difference. Let me tell you something. Being loud, like especially at home, when you have that huge energy, it does make a big difference. It's so funny. I posted on Instagram this thing about being able to, we don't need to talk about this right now, but like, I think it should be okay for us to sit on the bench, like in seats, and not have to stand in the box. Who else does this? We'll get into that for a different episode. Yeah. But it was amazing how many people responded like, well, the bench energy is so important. And like, and I agree, but when you play in huge arenas, dude, I don't hear anything. I don't even hear the teammates that I'm next to. Like as a middle, if I need to communicate something, I have to like grab them and be like, yo, this is what I need you to do. 'Cause it's impossible to hear anything. You know, have you ever had like what do you think is the biggest match you've ever played? Like the most loudest environment? Do you have one place in particular?
Tehran, in Iran. Like the World League. It was World League that time, not volley.
Volley Nations
Volley
League or whatever.
Nations League.
Yeah.
We were sitting, it was 2014. We were sitting in a locker room, and in the locker room it was so loud. Like you could hear, there were like 12,000 people, and mostly guys, because I think they were not letting women to go inside the sport hall that time.
Wow.
And they all had this like vuvuzelas, like these long trumpets, and you know, you hear all the time this sounds.
12,000 T-Pains in the
yeah,
building.
yeah. And we were sitting in the locker room waiting for the game and hearing this sound. When we went in, like they were so like furious and angry cheering for the team of Iran. And I think this was the loudest game I've ever been to. And I think that year we were also like the only team which have beaten Iran on their gym, because it's also like really high over the sea level, so it's difficult to stay like in the good shape for all the game, because you have to like practice on this sea level, like
and serving, dude, serving like that is crazy. With the same, when I said we played in BYU, it's like 6,000 feet elevation. So like, what is that, 2,000 meters or something?
Yeah. So the same like I think Tehran is like somewhere around 2,000.
Dude, you barely touch a ball when you're float serving and it just flies.
Yeah.
You notice that at all
or
no? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's strange hall to play. They were winning with everyone, and you were playing like 2 games one day after another, and we lost the first one and we won the second one, I think. And so this was the most difficult. There were the most difficult conditions to play I've ever experienced. And you, this BYU or?
No, gosh, I don't. It's hard for me to like think about, because I feel like I've played in a handful of environments that were so. Like sometimes you play in an environment. Do you ever get this? Like sometimes you play in an environment that's so loud, especially when I first started playing. Like professionally, that it's so loud that you like kind of black out. Like I'll never forget my first time ever playing for Team USA, like starting in a match. I literally felt like I was drunk. Like I couldn't think about anything. I couldn't focus, but I wasn't not focused. Like I was drunk.
Mm-hmm. Where it was? It was in USA or where?
Yeah, it was in Long Beach, this place called the Pyramid, and it's literally shaped like a pyramid, so jump serving there is a nightmare. Yeah, but I remember getting put in. I didn't start, I just got put in, and I remember just like jogging down, my first time ever like wearing a USA jersey and playing with the A team, let's say, and the senior team, and I just remember going in, like everyone's stoked, you know, everyone's so happy for you, and I was so happy, but like, and I did really well I was in for like half a set or something. And I just remember being like, not even nervous. It's like I couldn't think. Nothing was working. I just was going through the motions of like, this is me, and now I'm here, and you touch hands, and now I'm in, and like, dude, just like full blackout.
Yeah, I think everybody had the game like this in their lives. Like who's doing pro? I cannot imagine like you playing your first game on pro level with the big audience, and you feel like chill. Like something's wrong with your mental side if you don't feel this kind of emotions. Like it's so normal, like to feel so stressed and to after not to remember anything. Yeah, I'm so happy we did this episode, because serving is really interesting topic, and as you probably noticed, this was some kind of therapy for me. Dude, telling you all this
honestly, for me too, dude. Yeah. I feel the same. I was just gonna say, should we do another question, but we should probably
no, I think we'll stop here. So if you liked what we are doing, please subscribe our channel, and also write the topics, the guests, the ideas for the topics that we can speak in the next episodes, and rate us. If you are only listening to this, rate us on Spotify. We will try to put it also on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, so funny too when it comes to like subscribe to the podcast or it.
But you know that we have to tell it.
No. No. What I'm saying is like when I like for shows that I love, I like don't actually do it that much. And then I have a show and I'm like, man, it helps actually so much. Like to press the like button or to subscribe or the bell notification, like it helps so much. Yeah. But I get it. We're lazy. And so what I'm saying is I'm asking you to do it. I don't always do it, but it does help a lot. So if you do like the show, I mean, guys, again, this is like the beginning of something I think really, really cool. I'm so happy we get to, this is also therapy for us. Yeah. I literally feel like it's like there's so much more we could have talked about when it comes to serving and stuff and environment, and it's just
think about it this way. If you are with us right now on episode 3, like I hope in few years, in 10 years, you will say like, yeah, I was from the beginning with you guys. I'm the
Rough Riders, the OGs.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
OGs.
dude.
I remember this episode about serving and tossing the ball.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, whoa, you are that long with us. So yeah, remember this episode. And
We'll have to make some merch too or something, you know.
like,
We got to make some like T-shirts or something, some memorabilia here soon. We
like
got to make some
like T-shirt with the like points what you have to do before service. Like
Oh, that's a good
toss
idea.
the ball, toss it good.
Bad toss, good short. That was
Bad toss, good short.
Wow, dude.
Wow.
Thank you.
See you in the next episode.
Serve under the net. You won't.
No, pizza smell, good serve.
Margarita.
Margarita.
You know what's funny? In the States, we do donuts. We don't do pizza. It's donuts.
That's
Okay.
not enough.
Donuts is not enough, huh?
For sure not.
Pizza's a bigger deal. And dude, when you guys do pizza, it's like 10 pizzas.
Yeah.
Donuts is a big deal when you have no money and you're in university and you're like, fuck, I gotta go buy 24 donuts.
Okay. See you guys next time. Bye.
Ciao.